Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Unbettable. I'm Mondo here with Holmes, and no shit, look at him. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Gary Gowdy is back on our screens, back to give some winners. I hope. Um, Gary, how you feeling? I know you've been out sick. What's going on?
Yeah, my throat is a little achy, but we're alive. I almost died last week after sweating that parlay out, which ended up not hitting because Vikings are a horrible football team. But it is what it is. We're back for another week, so let's get it.
Welcome back, Holmes. How you doing?
Man, I am just trying to get off of a schneid right now. I am so ice cold betting right now, and it feels horrible. This is like bottom five feeling of all time. So I'm gonna try and turn some shit around tonight because this sucks.
It's all right. We've all been there at different points this year, so
Ah,
do not worry about it. You will survive. I promise you that.
yeah.
Um, so we can start off, I guess. We didn't really upload this. I was out sick that episode. Well, I'm sure we'll put it up eventually. But we did a futures episode. Well, Gary and Holmes did. And they gave out all their futures for the big sports. Kind of who to take. I know Gary took a lot of the favorites just as a hey, if you guys want who we think's gonna actually win this year, here's this. I know I took a bunch of long shots. Home, you kind of went somewhere in between. So do you guys want to run through those real quick and then we'll hit the picks for this week?
Yeah, definitely.
All
We'll
right,
make it quick.
Holmes, kick it off. Let's
All right,
start with NFL.
let's start with NFL. I have two futures that I really liked in the NFL, and I'm gonna look at the odds now compared to what they were when we did this episode, which was about like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, so I love the Lions to win the Super Bowl. I think that's incredible value. It was plus 1,200 the last time I saw it, and honestly, for this, like, I just think the two powerhouses in the NFC are obviously the Eagles and the 49ers right now.
Mhm.
As well as they have both played, I think obviously when you're looking at, let's see, the Super Bowl odds, the Eagles and the 49ers are right up at the top. They're both plus 425 right now. The Lions are now plus 1,500. So you can get even better value than you could before on the Lions because they've lost a couple of bad games. Well, they lost the last game on Thanksgiving, almost lost against the Bears, pulled out a win out of their ass. But I mean, I think this team just has the juice this year. I think they're kind of like that team of destiny. Dan Campbell, I love, love, love what he's done turning this
Mhm.
franchise around from a perennial loser to something that people in Detroit are actually excited to watch. So that's honestly like kind of a long shot here for me. And now they're plus 1,500. I mean, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in the odds right now to win the Super Bowl. So I think there's decent value for them to make a good playoff run and hey, maybe even win the Super Bowl this year.
Hey.
And then I also liked the Bucks to win the division. As as the weeks dwindle down, I'm kind of starting to really hate this. I just have a lot of faith in my hometown team, Tampa Bay, to get it done in this crapshoot division this year. I don't know what the odds were when we saw them last, but now they're plus 500. The Falcons are plus 120 and the Saints are plus 130. So you're getting a ton of value on the Bucks if they're able to make a late season push here, but they're going to have to start racking up wins really, really soon. I feel like I like this a couple of weeks ago. I like this a lot more. But now since they've lost and they're just like, they can't get over the hump in these really close games, I'm starting to not like this one anymore.
No, I hear you. I'm gonna kick it off with the one that literally the very next day I hopped right off of and bet the Lions. Um, so originally I had the Bengals at plus 1,100 right
Damn.
before that Thursday night game.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm definitely off of that. I'm on the Lions now. And then I also have the Dolphins as the Fins fan on this podcast, plus 1,100. Couldn't let those odds slip. Defense is looking prime. We just lost Jalen Phillips, but we got Jalen Ramsey back, and he's been dominating in the back of the secondary. So those are my two picks. Lions, Fins. The Bengals was just such a tough blow. Had Burrow stayed healthy, I would have stuck with it. But I mean, there's nothing I can do when it's the next day.
No,
Like,
tough luck,
that's
bro.
just that's horse shit.
That is tough.
Gary, who you got?
Yeah, so I had the Bucks to win our conference, or not conference, sorry, division. And obviously we fucking suck. Almost got to see Kyle Trask. But of course Baker's like, no, I'm good enough to play, and obviously was dog shit because we lost. Enough on that. Realistically, who do I think is going to win the Super Bowl this year? I'm going to say the Eagles. Eagles are plus 425 right now. This is just a safety. I mean, the Eagles are out for blood. And you can see it in Jalen Hurts' eyes every single time he steps on the field. That man does not fuck around. He wants to win, which I love that. Um, Now for my like long shot, the kind of the one I want to see, just because I love him. I want to see the Ravens win the Super Bowl plus 700. Lamar Jackson, bro, he has been standing on business, and that man is getting it done. And I like the way he looks. I mean, me personally, I think the Eagles are just a fun team to watch. I mean, Lamar is like a magician. You got OBJ playing like his old self, which is awesome to see. Just a good team to watch overall. So I like Ravens plus 700. That's pretty good value.
I love it. Attaboy, Gary. Way to switch it up a little bit. Let's hop on over to NBA. I'll kick it off and then send it to you, Holmes. So I'm gonna do the Warriors championship. I really do feel like they have a good shot. Their bench is obviously elite with Chris Paul coming off of it. I know they're getting older, but they're still a solid team. They're still gonna piece it together and they're still gonna work their way through the playoffs. It's plus 1,200 odds when we first talked about it. I'm sure it's even higher now. So I'm gonna stick with it. Also sticking with Heat being the Eastern Conference Finals winners. I put money down on this at plus 1,500 when we first talked about it. It is definitely worth it. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals the last 3 years, won it twice, or maybe I don't know. I don't really remember, but we're gonna win again. That's all you really need to know. Luka Doncic, he's taking the MVP plus 425. This is the year, man. This is the year that this elite man, he takes that final step to being the best player in the NBA. I know Jokic is there trying to stop him, but bro, it's got to be Luka's time eventually, and the time is no better than now. So, Holmes, who you got in the NBA?
So I took some chalk for the winner. I really just like the Nuggets to repeat this year. They're plus 400 right now. I don't know. It's too hard for me, I think, to see anybody else doing anything against that team in the playoffs when Jokic is just so damn dominant, especially when you get Jamal Murray healthy alongside him. I think he actually returns to the court tonight for the Nuggets. I mean, it's such an unstoppable duo. MPJ is like a real X factor on that team. If that guy starts shooting well, starts playing some nice defense for them, I mean, it's hard for me to see anybody beating them and taking them down. So I could see them going back to back. I like the plus 400 there. They're the second shortest favorite, the Celtics being the plus 350 favorite right now to win the NBA championship. But what I really like is Chet Holmgren to win the Rookie of the Year. What did I have this at? I had this at plus 275 earlier. Now it's down to minus 180. He's tied with the Victor Wembanyama as the favorite for minus. No, he is the favorite at minus 180. I'm sorry. Victor Wembanyama is minus 160. So Chet Holmgren now the favorite. If you had that at plus 275 earlier, fantastic value on that right now. Now, Victor's stats, I think, are a little bit better in the average category, but I think is what is going to separate Chet a little bit is the fact that he's playing for such a good Thunder team. I think that elevates his status a little bit because you're going to be having more eyes on him, I think, than the Spurs this year, who aren't really going to be that good. Unlikely they're going to be competing for a playoff spot, whereas you have the Thunder, very exciting young team this year, most likely going to be competing for a playoff spot. I think Chet Holmgren gets put in the spotlight a little bit more. I love the value on Rookie of the Year for him.
Gary.
Yeah, the eyes are definitely on the Thunder. I think that's definitely an understatement right now.
Mhm.
But I personally don't watch NBA a lot. So I'm just gonna give my take for who I think is gonna win the championship. Give me my Magic, bro. The Magic right now on a tear, 12 and
Nice.
5. I mean, this is unheard of, bro. Like this in itself is magic. Like the fact that the Magic are working magic is magic, bro. And if you were to hit this line, which is right now plus 15,000, you would be making some magic for your pockets. And fuck it. I mean, sprinkle a little bit on it, Let me see. Let's see here. $5 to win 755. I mean, who really gives a fuck about $5? Throw it on there, see what happens. Realistically, who do I think is gonna win? I was with Holmes on this one initially whenever we first talked about it. It's the Nuggets. Nuggets are raw. They really haven't let up since they won the finals last year. And I just think they're too good. And another thing that separates them is they know what it takes to win a championship, to win the chip. And I think that's one of the big things that separates a lot of these teams is the chemistry is unmatched when you've been there and done that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so my stretch, give me the Magic. My safety, give me the Nuggets.
Nice. Let's head over to college basketball. We know it's so early in the season, but I went out on a limb and I took FAU as the champs. They only lost one player heading into this season. They're all returning. They made a run of the Final Four last year. They are all really good. I know they lost one game to Bryant, but those odds at plus 4,000 were way too juicy to pass up. And we know that it's not always a one seed that makes the run at the tournament. It's usually those middle seeds. That's where they're favoring to be right now. So I'm taking FAU at those plus 4,000 odds. It would be fun to watch a hometown team kind of kick it off like that again. I also have Arizona as a safety one just in case. We know that they're a good school. It's not really safety at plus 1,800, but it's kind of my backup plan just in case FAU falls apart during the year. So those are my two for college basketball. Gary, what is your CBB play?
Yeah, this is a sport that I definitely don't watch unless I'm there in person to watch it. Um, but I had a lot of good memories doing this last year. So give me my Gators to win the championship. Right now, plus 6,000. They're really just like kind of middle of the pack when it comes to odds. And I definitely think sorry, bro. I got mucus fucking building up. I can't even talk. I got, I think they're a good team. I've been watching them on and off this year. They got a lot of young talent, which is exciting. The Gators, one of their motto seems to be, young talent is gonna win it all. I mean, obviously that wasn't the case for football. But maybe the change will lie in basketball. So we'll see what happens.
Holmes?
All right. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know a whole lot about college basketball, mainly because I don't watch it enough to have an informed opinion on it. So I'm not gonna speak here like I know anything about what I'm talking about.
All right.
But the two teams I will take is UConn to repeat because I think they're good as hell and they absolutely dominated the tournament last year. When we talked about it earlier with Garrett, we're at plus 1,600. They're now at plus 1,500. So a little bit of value there. And then I put a flyer on the Creighton Blue Jays. They're just an exciting team to watch. They have a lot of good transfers this year. And they're just perennially good. Like they're always in the tournament. They're always making noise. Very good team out of the Big East. I got them at plus 3,000 earlier, and they're now down to plus 2,250. So good value on them as well. Earlier when we looked at that, but that's really all I got to say about that. Not too much on college basketball. I got to start focusing up more before March Madness.
Yeah, and I expect to see both of you down here at the guitar for the first 2 days of the tournament. So take off of work, drive down. Gary, dip out. I know you're not in school. Um, and let's have a fucking time, boys. March Madness is right around the corner. Get ready, book your trips. We'll stay at the hotel. There's a sports book that's going to be there. It will be fucking electric.
Yeah, I've
Get
seen.
ready. It'll be hype. Stay tuned. Could be a potential live stream coming in for that. So
Looks awesome.
let's flip it over. College football. Looking at this, based on what I did, not too hot. I do like the Washington play still. They're at number 3 right now. I took them at plus 1,200. On the flip side, I took Ohio State plus 800. Yeah, I'm gonna pull my money out on that one. I did not. That was not smart of me. So yeah, unless some miracle happens and Ohio State sneaks in, this is not worth it at all. So Holmes, I'll let you take away from here.
I mean, all I had was Oregon to win the CFP, become the champion this year. They were plus 800 when I had them a few weeks ago. Got to look at what that's sitting at now. But I wouldn't say I'm losing confidence in it. I definitely think they can win the Pac-12 championship this week against Washington. Do I think they're going to cover? That's a different story. But I do think that they will win. I think they will become the Pac-12 champions. I mean, they're trending up right now. Washington, I think, is on the downtrend a little bit ever since they played each other last. So I'm going to ride with Bo Nix and how well he's been commanding that offense and how well the defense has been complementing them on the other side of the ball. It's just going to be tough if they get in. They're well. First of all, they might need some help to get in to the Final Four in this upcoming championship week. But if they get in, it's going to be really tough because there's a lot of good teams this year. There's just a lot of good teams that could be in the playoff. I think there's like 6 or 7 that I think are worthy playoff contenders. And I think if any one of those 7 are in there, it's going to be a pretty intense battle this year. So I think Oregon has got their work cut out for them. Let me go find out. Sorry, what they are at
Plus
now.
500.
Plus 500. Okay. So plus 800 was good.
Gary.
Yeah. The dogs are gonna win again. I mean, I feel like that's really not a surprise to anybody. Michigan, believe it or not, has better odds than the dogs to win. Michigan at plus 190, dogs at plus 210. I mean, bro, a three-peat would be crazy. And I think everybody on Georgia's roster knows that. And I think they have also heard, the voices from up north whispering about the Wolverines. And I really don't think that they give a shit. I think that the Bulldogs have a dog mentality. And we see it every single week. Everybody last Saturday was like, "Oh my God, Georgia's down by or down on Georgia Tech. Like, what's going on?" And then they came back in the second half and whooped that ass. 3/4 of my family are Bulldog fans. I was kind of the dark horse when I went to UF. And I hear about it every single weekend when the Gators play against absolutely anybody. But of course, I'm never switching off that. But I'm gonna show them some love, and I'm gonna take the dogs to win the chip.
Nice.
As chalk gets, Gary Gowdy. Proud of you. Proud of you. Let's send it over to the MLB. I have 2, one from each league, obviously. Taking the Yankees plus 1,600. I think they're going to make a big move in this offseason. Probably snagging Yamamoto. I know they're in the running for Shohei. I don't think that's going to happen. They're also in the market for Bellinger. So there are a lot of opportunities for the Yankees. So plus 1,600 is kind of a steal, assuming that they make a big move. The other one would be the Cubs at plus 2,500. It's literally the same situation, but for them, they're one of the favorites for Ohtani. They have Bellinger. They're trying to re-sign. So basically, it's like either way, one of these 2 teams is going to ball out next year. They're going to have these great odds, so it's worth taking them. So Yankees, Cubs, both my money on it so far. I'll pull off depending on free agency, but it was worth it at the time, and it still kind of is right now. Holmes, who you got?
I just had one play, and it's the same right now. I am sticking with the Orioles to win the AL for plus 750. I don't need them to win the World Series. I just need them to get to the World Series. I think they more than have the talent to do so. They've built up their team the right way, doing it through the farm system, using all their young talent to their advantage, all their high draft picks. I mean, I think they're just a really, really exciting team. And I think they're a move or two away from being a serious contender to win the World Series. I think they need a starting pitching piece. They need somebody they can really depend on in that rotation, possibly an ace caliber pitcher or a number 2 caliber pitcher. And then I think they maybe just need like a veteran presence on that team. It doesn't need to be a starter, maybe somebody that can platoon with somebody at a position, but I think you need a little bit of veteran leadership, guy that's been around the block before, knows what to do, knows at least how to get those guys ready for playoff atmosphere, especially a guy that maybe has won a World Series before. Bringing that type of experience in is incredibly valuable.
Gear. There's that
Yeah.
smile.
I mean, it's crazy talking about, a league that hasn't even started up again. And I really don't know how I feel about any of these until I see where Shohei goes. Because I feel like wherever Shohei goes is gonna be that one team that feels like they don't need him to bring them out of the mud, but they need him just to get to the top. Like what Holmes was saying with the O's, like they need that one piece. And I feel like, wherever he goes, he is going to be that last piece of the puzzle. But I remember me and Hart had talked about it. We both agreed that the O's were a valid pick. My reach is going to be the Rays. I don't see this happening this year, bro. Like after we got absolutely skull fucked in the first round of the playoffs by the Rangers. I just don't think they're ready for that. And looking at that roster, like watching the way they played, it was just like they really didn't give a fuck that they were even there, which kind of pissed me off. But it is what it is. So I'll take the Rays plus 2,000 as a reach. And then as my safety one, which isn't even really a safety, I'm gonna go with Hart and take the O's.
Nice.
All right. On to the final futures. Just a reminder, these do not count against our record. These are just reaches. So do not take them quite as literal as our other picks. And this is the sport I follow the least, so we're just gonna fucking go for it. Taking the Lightning at plus 2,000. They were back-to-back champions at one point. As far as I'm aware, they're still a pretty good team. I have no clue if they're not or not. But at plus 2,000, it's worth taking, especially that risk. And especially if you're taking my other pick, which is my favorite team, the Kraken, at plus 8,000. They made the playoffs last year. They are overdue for a championship already. So it's been a solid 2-3 years maybe, but they're overdue for a championship. It's time to make that run. So go Kraken.
Wow.
This guy's a troll.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I'm gonna stick with one of the co-favorites in the Boston Bruins for plus 800. Boston, I think, just had some poor luck in the playoffs last year after just absolutely rolling through the regular season. They've picked right back up where they left off last year. I mean, they're rolling again to start off this season. They look incredibly good. Their goaltending is fantastic. They have 2 goaltenders, Swayman and Ullmark. Both of them are fantastic. I mean, they are exactly what you would want come playoff time, to have both of those guys locked in, ready to go. Either game you can play either guy. I think that's a situation that is really going to help the Bruins out down the road. I think they've learned from their playoff mistakes last year. They're just ready to bulldoze through the regular season again and get to the playoffs because they want redemption.
Gareth Gauderson.
Might as well call me fucking Gunther. Yeah. I'm taking the Golden Knights as my safety. I feel like they're just too good. Even though they aren't in the top running for the cup right now, plus 900 is still pretty good odds. And then as my reach, I'm of course going to take the Lightning plus 2,000. I love the Lightning, bro. Honestly, hockey I kind of like I look at hockey as like what really, really got me engaged in sports. So like a lot of people don't know this, but when I first got into college, I was nursing. Had to figure something out. Ended up picking sport management. And obviously at that point in time, I realized I got to diversify the way I look at sports. It's not just football and golf. Um, so hockey was that first kind of step out of my bubble, and I went to a Lightning game. And I loved every second of it. And from that point on, I knew the Lightning kind of had my heart. So, of course, I'm gonna rock with the Lightning plus 2,000. It would be great to see. Do I think it will happen this year? Most likely not. Um, but keep your hopes high. Lightning play different when it comes time for playoff hockey. So we'll see what happens.
That's true.
All right. I think my mic just disconnected.
It did.
All right. Well, you guys talk about Oregon, Washington, and then I'll hop in.
All right. We'll just go over these games real quick because I'm sure we'll touch on them a little bit on our Friday episode as well. But the two championship games that we have on Friday night, the one that we probably don't care a lot about is New Mexico State against number 24 ranked Liberty for the Conference USA Championship. I'm probably just going to end up taking Liberty in the points here. They're minus 11. Liberty's undefeated. I think I'd just be a fool to bet on them or bet against them at this point. So I'm just going to ride Liberty and keep it short and sweet on that one. Anybody got anything for that game?
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Are we good?
Yeah, you're back.
All right. Yeah. Hard bet on Liberty. Liberty is going to smoke New Mexico State. That's all you really need to know about this game. It is at Liberty, shockingly enough. So if you are not betting Liberty, I have no clue what the fuck you're doing. Gary, you got anything?
Who are these teams?
All right, attaboy. Proud of you once again, Gary. Always deliver. Oregon at Washington, the biggest matchup of Friday night, arguably the biggest matchup of this weekend. I mean, wow. Pac-12 championship. Oregon at the 5 seed. They win, they're in. Washington at the 3 seed. They win, they're in. It doesn't get any bigger at all than this game. And the only bet that I'm going to place down, aside from that futures bet on Washington, is the over. The over set at, I think, like 65.5 or something ridiculous like that. Smash that over. These guys are going to put up at least 80 combined points in this game. It is going to be an absolute air raid. I cannot wait to watch it. You're going to watch 2 of the 3 Heisman finalists actually face off in a championship game where there will be no defense played. Get fucking ready. Get hyped. This game is about to live up to it. It is going to be awesome. Holmes, take it away.
Yeah, man, this game is going to go crazy. I think we all anticipated that this was going to be a Pac-12 championship rematch. The thing for me is, since I have the future on Oregon, I think I have to hedge myself and take Washington on the money line here for plus 260. I will probably also take them to cover 9.5. And this is just strictly like a hedge play against what I have for Oregon down the road to win the CFP. Because if Oregon wins this, then boom, they're more than likely getting into the top 4. There might have to be some other pieces that have to fall in championship weekend, but I do think that they'll win this game. I think the spread of 9.5 is a little bit much. Like, I get how great Oregon has looked since the last time they played and how many close games Washington has played since then. But Washington is still undefeated. So I think that still says a lot about this team. I see this as being definitely within the 9.5. So I will take Washington to cover and probably hedge myself with a plus 260 money line too.
Gunther.
Yeah. Wow. We're actually getting into that time of the year, bro.
We're here, man.
I think that's crazy. I feel like it all just kind of flew by, but this is kind of the reality check. And I think Oregon is going to take this, and I'm not going to take the spread. I'm just going to take right on the money line, Oregon. I think that Bo Nix, he's played college football long enough. He knows what it takes. He's seen it happen. He's watched his dreams crumble. This year, he's kind of watching them build. And I think he wants to go out with a bang. And I think this is the perfect way to do it. Kind of up his draft standings a little bit. So I'm just gonna take Oregon on the line.
All right.
So,
Well, there's the picks. I'm dead ass. This is the biggest game of the weekend. Second biggest game. I mean, it's got to be Georgia, Bama. Georgia's the number 1 seed going for 3 straight championships. Bama's the heel, right? They lost early in the season. We told you guys they were going to stick around. They're going to find themselves in a situation to compete for the playoffs. Here the fuck we are. Bama wins. They make their case, but it's against Georgia. So this game's at 4 p.m. on Saturday. I honestly don't have a read on it yet. I may lead towards Bama with the points. I just don't know. I may have to go watch some game film. So we'll see with my picks come Friday. Holmes?
Yeah, I'll just briefly touch on this because I'm sure I'll go more in depth on Friday. This is going to be the toughest one to pick of the weekend for sure. I think these teams match up so well against each other that it's so tempting for me to want to take Alabama because of how great they've looked down the stretch. They're playing a completely different brand of football since they lost to Texas at home. But Georgia, on the other hand, like, I mean, they don't lose games. I can't even remember the last time they lost a game. So I'm really, really conflicted. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to take some days to think about it as well. And on Friday, I will definitely have a pick. But right now, I can't choose.
Gareth.
I'm gonna take Bama plus 5.5 for this one. um, and that's just because, like, like how I was talking about the Lightning earlier, like they know how to play playoff hockey. Bama knows how to play playoff ball. Nick Saban definitely knows what it takes to win a championship. He is, I mean, honestly, the CFB coach GOAT. That might be a hot take to some people, but he definitely has the stats to prove it. But like Hart was saying, bro, Georgia is just like this team sent from, I'm not even gonna say heaven, I'm gonna say from hell, because go to hell, Georgia. But they just don't lose. And they also, Kirby definitely knows what it takes to win. So I'm just gonna take Bama plus 5.5. I think this game is gonna be the first game that really is a dogfight for Georgia this year. A game that is definitely gonna come down to some fourth quarter big plays. So give me Bama plus 5.5.
Yeah. And on to the next game we got. And you thought I was going to give it to you. That's right. Get blue balled. We have the rest of the picks coming on Friday. We are not getting into all of them. So stay tuned for that.
Okay.
Let's talk Thursday night football. Seahawks out Cowboys. Seahawks 2-3 on the road. Cowboys undefeated at home 5-0. Dallas currently projected 9-point spread over under 47.5. I don't know where I'm really leaning yet. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Probably a CD Lamb touchdown. I'll take a Geno Smith interception, and then I may take the over. So I think, what is that, Gare?
Aaron Rodgers is throwing a football.
Oh Lord, here we go. But that's where I'm sitting right now. I'll probably have more concrete answers tomorrow, but that's where we're at. Holmes, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I will definitely keep up on the Twitter and make sure you're checking that before Thursday night football tomorrow for the official plays. I know what I'm going to be on for right now. Cowboys minus 9.5. It's because they're at home. They are blowing teams out at home. Their margin of victory at home this year is crazy. At home against the Jets in week 2, 30-10 victory. Week 4 against the Patriots, 38-3. We got here week 7 against the Rams, 43-20. Week 9 against the Giants, 49-17. And then last week on Thanksgiving, 45-10 against the Commanders. They are blowing the doors off of teams at home. And I get that most of those teams are pretty shitty. The Seahawks do have a 6-5 record. They're not exactly a slouch team this year. And typically, I would be picking against the Cowboys in this spot because they are facing the Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions coming up in the next 4 weeks, which is a very, very tough slate of games. So typically, I would look at this as a look ahead spot. But since they're playing on prime time and they have that extra week and a few days to prepare for their next Sunday game in prime time against the Eagles, I'm going to take the Cowboys to cover at home, -9.5 against the Seahawks. I think Dak is going to keep slinging the pill, and I will likely have a prop to drop on this game tomorrow. So check in with the Twitter.
Browdy.
Route. Yeah, so for all the reasons that Hart just stated, I'm just gonna take the over 47.5. I definitely think it's a feasible over. The only thing that's kind of scaring me from this is it is a Thursday night game. If you have watched any of the Thursday night games this year, you know that they suck donkey balls when it comes to scoring points. Um, but again, bro, Dallas is kind of like a dark horse team, bro, that definitely is in the running for a ring, which I hate to say that. I hate to say that.
Yeah,
But it's the
they are.
truth.
It's true. Yeah.
And Dallas is the truth this year. They are playing ball. And they are kind of an exciting team to watch, believe it or not. I mean, when you got a defensive team that puts up damn near 40 points every week in fantasy and fucking, a Dak Prescott that is healthy and is actually launching the ball. You got CD Lamb on the connection. They're a fun team to watch. So I'm gonna take over 47.5.
I'm going to actually give you a little counter to this Thursday night, blues, you call them. Both these teams played last Thursday. So this is the exact equivalent of a Sunday to Sunday schedule. So that's why I feel like there's not going to be any rush, not going to be any hangover. It'll literally just feel like a normal week to them. So that's the counter that I'm seeing and why I'm taking the over. But yeah, those are the main matchups we have. Obviously, we know Wednesday shows are not as crazy because we're right in the middle of the week. But Holmes, I know you have a couple plays. I have a couple plays in terms of tonight's matchup. And take it away.
All right. Okay, you can tweet these out as soon as I'm done with this, but I will drop one NBA prop, one NHL total. We'll start in the NBA. I'm going to take Jordan Clarkson over 24.5 points and assists tonight. I'm taking this mainly because Lauri Markkanen is not playing tonight, so Jordan Clarkson is definitely going to have increased usage. They also are playing Memphis, who's not been a very good team this year, not very good on the defensive side of the ball either. So I'm going to take Jordan Clarkson to go over 24.5 points and assists. He's averaging 18 points. He's averaging about 5 assists. So he's just under that mark for his average, but I do think he'll have a good night tonight, coming off of a night of rest, letting him heal up a little bit. I like him to go over that total tonight. I am also going to the ice and going to take the under in the Capitals and the Kings matchup tonight, the under 6.5 goals. Cam Talbot is in goal for the Los Angeles Kings. This guy has been money this year, especially at home. He has a 2.82 goals against average at home. Right? I have that right? Yeah, I do have that right.
Yep,
Okay.
you're good.
Okay. So yeah, at home against the Caps, the Kings have been a fantastic team this year, and their goaltending has been great because of how well Talbot's been playing. So I really like them. And as far as Washington is concerned, they have not been playing very good hockey as of late. After getting an OT win last week against the Sabres 4-3, they got shut out by the Oilers 5-0, and then just lost to the Sharks, the literal worst team in the NHL, 2-1. What was that? Just 2 nights ago. So I definitely like the under in this game, even though the Caps are coming off of that night of rest. I like Talbot to have a great night in net for the Kings tonight, under 6.5.
What's so funny, Gare?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I just saw a funny video of two of our fraternity brothers on a carnival ride today on campus. I'll show it to you. Here, they're right there.
Oh my god. my picks for tonight. We got Tyrese Maxey over 20.5 points. He's been on fire this season. I feel like he's gonna keep taking it up a notch. Westbrook's going to have over 4.5 rebounds. I mean, he's coming off the bench, but 4.5 for a guy that used to average a triple-double, I feel like that could be a very good play. Cade Cunningham, I have 2 bets on him. One over 1.5 3-pointers made. He's not a big 3-point shooter, but when he does make it. Cade also over 2.5 turnovers. He turns the ball over a lot. We all know this. It's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And then Embiid over 10.5 rebounds. The dude's an absolute freak. He averages a double-double. I mean, 10.5 seems like a lock for him. So those are my picks for the night. Those were Holmes' picks for the night. Gary, do you have any picks for the night? Thanks, Gary. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you did enjoy, please like, subscribe, share with everyone you know. We're really trying to grow this shit. It's a hard thing to do, but we're working on it. We're trying to get better every single day. So if you have any feedback, leave it in the comments. Leave it on Twitter. Leave it on Instagram. We will look at it. I promise you. But with that said, we will see you guys on the next episode coming out on Saturday. Peace.
Peace.